Hi everyone, thank you so much for all your recommendations. The first one I'm going to do is Nicola Bulley. I am going to say before I start that this is for entertainment purposes only, my thoughts and opinions, it's not fact. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware Nicola Bulley went into the River Wyre on the 27th of January back in 2023. Now, because she wasn't found straight away and there were lots of reports about her health that came out, there was lots of speculation she could have been taken. It was a huge case and it probably wasn't handled right by the police in terms of what they relayed to the public, and it didn't help that there was someone from, I forgot the name, but there was this search and rescue team and one of the men clarified and said that she was definitely not in the river. She did turn up later, I think it was a few weeks later. She was slightly downstream in the river and it appeared that she'd been trapped within the reeds, and for whatever reason he said his sonar system wouldn't pick up on that, but there were a lot of issues which generated a lot of interest in this case. So I'm going to go through a few things. The first, like the two questions I think that people want to know in this is how she actually went into the river, and then why she wasn't found for such a long time. So immediately, whenever I think of Nicola, I get this really overwhelming sense of sort of sadness, like she's really sorry for something it's not actually her fault. So we'll start. The first card that I have here, and this is like a few things about Nicola and what's going on the day, and we know that, you know, she was struggling a little. So the first card I have is the Poet card. Now what this card's telling me is that she doesn't feel as though she's being listened to, even though she probably is. She feels as though people aren't taking her words seriously, and that could be anyone. It could be to do with whoever she's seeing health-wise, medically, and it could be to do with family, it could be to do with friends. But I also have this card here, this trauma, and that's playing on her mind quite a lot. She doesn't feel she's being listened to. She's got this trauma flashback, and what I'm also getting from this is side effects, and we do know that there was some side effects that were negatively impacting Nicola that were coming from this medication she was on. The flip side, it's like two extremes with this. So on one part, she's, you know, she's having difficulty, she doesn't feel as though she's being listened to. The second part, what I have is this love on the brain and the lovers cards. Now, I don't feel there's any kind of, you know, third party or anything like that involved, but I get the impression that things aren't going as well as Nicola would have liked at home, that, you know, there's certain issues going on there, and, you know, she's fantasizing and dreaming about those days when, you know, people were in love and life was just that little bit more simple for her. I've just dropped a card that I'm going to pick up. Now, because of all this, as she's wandering around, she's walking the dog and things, what I've got is like, she's pretty much ignoring what's going on around her. And I also feel as though she's ignoring something, possibly the team's call, but she doesn't really want to listen to things right now. And I have this card, wasting time. I feel like she's out there, she's trying to clear her head, and that's why there's all these thoughts and processes coming through. What I'm also getting is the Warrior card. Now with this Warrior card, it's an internal struggle I'm feeling with this card. It's like she's battling with herself, and it's alongside the others. She wants to be heard and things, but it also means that there's a slight imbalance, and I feel as though this is the imbalance she's feeling. For whatever reason, her head's not quite right and she is a little unstable on her feet. I mean, not mentally, it's just a process she's going through. So she's down the river, she's with the dog, and these two cards come out immediately. Now they're telling me that something happened, it's very, very quick, it's completely out the blue, and it's a complete shock to her. And it's clarified by this card, the moving card. I feel like she's on the move, possibly some sort of half run, but she's on the move and she's doing it quickly. It could be to do with the dog she's following the dog around. But what I'm also getting is this card. Now, something left behind. Now, the river was searched, the place by the park bench was searched, and all the surrounding riverbanks. They never found any trace of Nicola going into the water. But what this card's telling me is that there was something there, and I feel as though it was just round the bend. I feel as though she was slightly, I'm getting further up, so she was slightly further upstream than where this bench was, and the dog's been back there because that's where her belongings are, and I feel as though she's just been on the move slightly further up, and that's where she went into the river originally. Again, I'm also getting this, you know, someone crouched over, someone looking for you, and I feel like, you know, I'm not going to say this is a wolf in sheep's clothing, but I'm getting the dog, and I'm getting that the dog's looking for her. So the dog's running up and down, and it's going towards the river. So it's obviously seen her go in, but the dog's still looking for her, and it stayed near where her items are rather than where she went into the river. Now, the next cards, I get all clarify and ending. So we have the world and time to go, things are finished now, it's time to move on, and it's time to let go. And this happens pretty soon after she's gone into the water. Again, we have this one, the ending. That one can be buried as well, so this is telling me that she's buried in the undergrowth. You can see from the card all the sort of leafy, earthy colours, which would have been on the bed of the river as well. Now, these two cards, so I have Thanatos, and I also have this card. Now, I don't feel as though it was intentional on Nicola's part, and I do have to say that when I get this card out, I don't feel it was intentional. What I'm getting from these cards is that there was this death was there, that, you know, she's gone into the river, she's trying to get out of it. But what I'm getting from this card is that she tried, she just didn't have the strength to, and at the time I feel as though she feels she let go a little bit too early. It's like she's sorry she didn't have the strength to keep going, because it wasn't a deep river, it wasn't, you know, it would have been quite difficult for her, but she just couldn't stand up, and her physical strength wasn't there. And I feel like she possibly at the time blamed herself. She did try, and you know, she did reach out, she did try and get out of the river, is what I'm being told. Now, in terms of anyone watching or anyone being there at the time, I do get that there was a younger male in the vicinity, somewhere around the park, but I don't feel that they actually saw what happened. And I also get a female energy, but they never actually saw Nicola going into the river. Interestingly though, and originally I thought this may have been in Nicola's head, but I have all these cards which came out which mean the same thing. Now I've got the someone there, something's hidden. That could have been Nicola. She was herself hidden when they first went into the river, when they were first searching for her. No one's seen her. But then we had this card. It's the intuition card, but I'm drawn more towards someone sort of peeking around, having a look, seeing what's going on. Then we have this card, gathering evidence. It's like someone's watching. Creeping card as well. And then we have this surveillance card too. So this bothered me a little because I didn't know whether it was in her mind or not. So I did do some clarifying cards. And what I've got from them is that there's this female and she's watching over her, and there's basically these obstacles, some kind of threats made, something's been placed in her way by this female. She's watching over her, she's gathering information, and I feel as though the threats were to do, again, we have the lovers card and we have the family card. So whatever it was to do with, it was to do with her family life. And I feel like this woman was going to, she was threatening to expose something that may have, you know, it may have been quite bad and had a negative impact on Nicola's home life, and I do feel as though she was already struggling a little in that respect, so it was playing on her mind. But I'm not sure the extent to what she was being watched, but she felt as though this was a constant, and it was this female that I'm getting from this. Now, in terms of why she wasn't found immediately, the first thing I have is that she's trapped. She's trapped, she's under the water, and as I said, I feel as though she's slightly upstream from where she was, where they believe she went into the water. Now, what I also have is these cards, and I feel like this man, this gentleman trying to help, he's the one that was with the special task group, the one with the sonar systems and things like that. And what I'm getting is that he had a little too much confidence in himself and in the abilities of everything that was there, all his equipment. And looking back, his perspective as well was a little bit flawed. He basically thought that, you know, this equipment, and it was the best in the world, but there were other things that could have happened that weren't taken into account, and I feel as though that added a lot of drama to Nicola's case. Now, these two cards I have, the Temple and a Gape. Now, they have several meanings, but what I'm going to take away from the two of these is that nature plays a part. There's a force that can't be stopped, and that's nature. And what they both indicate is that you need to reassess what you believe in a way, and I feel as though this ties into the search and rescue operation and what was going on there. And it was basically what these cards are saying to me is that we should have reassessed things, that we shouldn't have had as much confidence in what we were being told, because, you know, you can't stop nature. I do feel like she was trapped under the water, and then she did just move on, but I feel as though she was there the entire time. Now, to finish with the two cards I had, as I said earlier, I always felt as though Nicola blamed herself in a way for not having that strength to just pull herself out, but physically she just couldn't. She did try. And the first card I have is this message of forgiveness and one of happiness, and I do feel that this is the place she is now. She's managed to forgive herself, and I'm getting that she forgives, you know, there were certain things that people may have said, certain things that people may have done at a time when she was struggling, and I feel like the forgiveness that I'm getting here is universal. It's within herself, and it's to the people around her, and the message of happiness, like she's in a place where she's accepted and she's happy now, and she wants everyone around her to be happy, everyone around her that she loved to be happy. And I feel as though this is especially the case for the children. I feel as though, you know, they were her world. She would have done anything for them, and that's why she feels this anguish within herself, like she just couldn't reach out and she couldn't pull herself up. But I don't feel there was any foul play. I feel there was things going on in her private life, and as I said, I feel like this woman was, you know, throwing obstacles in her way. I feel like there was some sort of threats towards her family life, but I don't feel they were there when she actually went into the water. Thank you.